Let me start with a question. If you woke up tomorrow and your bank account showed zero, would you consider yourself broke or poor? That might sound like the same thing, but it's not. And the difference between those two words can change the entire direction of your financial life. In fact, understanding this one concept might explain why some people bounce back from rock bottom while others stay stuck for decades. Stick with me, because once you see the difference, you'll never look at money, or your own situation, the same way again. So let's break it down. Being broke is usually temporary. It's when you're stressed about bills, your account balance is running on fumes, and you're in survival mode. But deep down, you believe it's just a season. Broke is a condition. Poor, on the other hand, is an identity. Poor is when you've internalized the idea that this is just who I am. Poor isn't just about money, it's about hopelessness. It's about believing things won't change, so why even try? Here's a picture to make it clearer. Being broke is like your car running out of gas on the highway. You're stuck for the moment, but if you hustle, call for help, or find a way to refuel, you're moving again. Being poor is like believing the car will never run again, so you don't bother trying to fix it. That mindset shapes every decision from then on. Let me ask you, have you ever gone through a broke season that actually taught you lessons you still use today? This difference shows up everywhere. Someone who's broke might pick up extra hours at work, sell things online, or tighten their budget because they believe they can get through it. Someone with a poor mindset might throw their hands up and say, "What's the point? People like me never get ahead." And that single belief is powerful enough to keep them trapped for life. You can even see this play out with people who suddenly come into money. Think about lottery winners or professional athletes who earn millions. Studies show that many of them are broke again just years later. Why? Because their mindset never shifted. They had money, but no financial foundation, no discipline, and no belief system around how to build wealth. Without the right mindset, money slips through your fingers no matter how much you have. Now let's talk about where these mindsets come from. They often run in families. Maybe you grew up in a household where phrases like, "we'll always be poor," or "that's just how it is for people like us," were common. That language gets planted like seeds, and it grows into beliefs. On the flip side, some families who didn't have much money still used language of possibility, like, "we don't have it yet, but we'll figure it out." Those kids grow up believing that money problems are temporary, not permanent. Quick question for you. What's one money saying or belief you heard growing up that still echoes in your head today, for better or worse? Let's go even deeper. Being broke is external. It's what's happening outside you. Job loss, medical bills, inflation. You can't always control those things. But being poor is internal. It's about what you believe and how you respond. And that's why two people can face the exact same hardship and end up in completely different places 10 years later. One fights, adapts, and moves forward. The other gives up before they even start. Here's where it gets really interesting. Broke people often hustle their way out. They pick up side gigs, learn skills, or create opportunities. Poor people, and I don't mean this as an insult, I mean the mindset, often stay stuck because they convince themselves there's no point in trying. Over time, the gap between those two people grows bigger and bigger. And it's not because one had better luck, it's because of the mindset they carried through the storm. So how do you shift from poor thinking to broke thinking, and eventually to thriving? It usually happens in stages. First, you move from poor to broke, meaning you stop saying, "this is forever," and start believing, "this is temporary." That's the most important shift. Then, in the broke stage, you start building stability. That might look like creating a simple budget, building even the smallest savings cushion, or picking up new skills. Once stability is in place, you can move toward growth, investing, planning, and building wealth over time. Each stage takes work, but it all starts with that first belief that change is possible. Now let's zoom out for a second. We live in a culture that often confuses broke and poor. You've probably heard people say, "I can't go out this weekend, I'm broke." But what they really mean is they're choosing not to spend. That kind of broke isn't desperation, it's prioritization. The danger is when we casually use the word poor to describe ourselves when really, we're just broke. Words matter because words shape beliefs, and beliefs shape outcomes. Here's another perspective. Broke people see money as a tool they don't have enough of right now. Poor people see money as something that's always out of reach. Broke people ask, how do I get more gas in the tank? Poor people ask, why even bother? The tank will always be empty. Which question are you asking more often? Let's bring in some practical examples. Imagine two people each facing a $500 emergency expense. The broke person might sell some things, work overtime, or cut expenses temporarily to solve the problem. The poor person might immediately think, this proves I'll never get ahead, and turn to payday loans or give up altogether. That one decision creates a ripple effect. Interest piles up, stress increases, and the cycle repeats. And let's not ignore the emotional side. Poor mindsets often come with shame. If you believe being poor is who you are, you start attaching that identity to your worth as a person. But being broke doesn't define you. It's just a snapshot in time. Breaking free often starts with releasing the shame and saying, this is where I am, not who I am. So what are some steps you can take today to avoid slipping into a poor mindset? First, audit your money language. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, try asking, how could I afford this? That one-word shift forces your brain to look for possibilities instead of shutting down. Second, focus on skills, not just savings. In the broke stage, savings might be small, but new skills can grow your earning potential quickly. Third, surround yourself with possibility. If everyone around you says nothing ever changes, it's easy to believe them. Instead, listen to podcasts, watch videos, or find communities where growth is normal. Now let's talk about the long-term consequences. Over years, mindset compounds like money. A broke mindset drives action, and action builds progress. A poor mindset convinces you to stay put, and inaction keeps you stuck. Imagine two people with the same income and expenses today. Fast forward 10 years. One has chipped away at debt, built savings, maybe started investing. The other is in the same place, or worse. The difference isn't luck. It's mindset repeated over thousands of small decisions. And here's something powerful. Sometimes we carry both. You might be broke financially but rich in resourcefulness, creativity, or relationships. Or you might not be broke at all, but your poor mindset makes you feel like you are. Have you ever noticed people who make six figures but still say, I'm always broke? That's a mindset issue, not a math issue. So the next time you're tempted to say, I'm poor, stop and ask yourself, are you truly poor, or are you just broke right now? Because broke is temporary. Poor only becomes permanent if you accept it as your identity. The good news is, no matter where you are, you can choose differently today. You can choose to see this season as temporary. You can choose to believe you're capable of change. And once that belief takes root, it will influence every financial decision you make. So let me leave you with this. Broke is a situation. Poor is a mindset. One is a snapshot. The other is a story you tell yourself. The question is, which story are you living right now? And maybe even more importantly, which story do you want to pass down to the next generation?